From Journey with VRD, you're listening to the Visions, Missions, and Manifestations podcast, the number one place for spirituality, healing, and transcendence. I'm your host, Vivian Raquel Dayan. Now let's get into it. I actually don't think I've ever shared this story publicly, so you're in for a treat. I remember getting ready for a medicine journey in 2022, at the very end of 2022. It was December. And I've done journeys with these two facilitators, a husband and wife, many times before, recommended to me by one of my most life-changing coaches. And instead of putting my phone in my bag, turning it off, leaving it upstairs, I handed the woman my phone. And I said, no matter how hard I beg during the journey, I need you to not give it back to me until I'm fully back to myself. And she said, why not just shut it off? Why not just put it in your bag upstairs? And I said, because I have a crippling fear of never having to tell anybody where I am. So I felt that if I had my phone during the journey, I would get this like anxiety throughout, making me want to take out my phone and text my family members where I was, what I was doing, which I wasn't ready for at the time. And now a lot of them know. But at the time, I just wasn't ready to share with them what was going on. So at the time, in December of 2022, I was in upstate New York, part of this journey, right? And here I am telling the female facilitator that I need her to hold my phone because I have this crippling fear that of people not knowing where I am and me not being able to deeply journey because I'll have to consistently tell everybody in my family where I am. And at the time, I was working a 9 to 5. In that moment, I realized this like fake bubble of safety I was giving myself. Instead of fully going after Journey with VRD and making a shit ton of money and having a big impact and just like having this huge explosion, this freedom of helping other incredible people have freedom in my life, I was making myself small. I was constricting myself because I felt like if I had a 9 to 5 and if God forbid I didn't show up, they were forced to look for me. They were forced to text me to ask me where I was or email me or call me. And somebody needing me or me being held responsible to be somewhere gave me this eerie sense of safety. I was telling myself this story that the safety of a 9 to 5, of having to be somewhere, of somebody expecting me, meant freedom, right? But all it was freedom from my own anxiety that I created in my own mind, right? Not real freedom. And it later led me to look back on my life. And I noticed that I had a very strange attachment to always letting my parents know where I am. And I'm not talking like, hey, I'm going on a class trip or hey, I'm at my friend's house. I'm talking getting on intercom in my own house that I grew up in and announcing to everybody that I was going to be in the shower so that if they needed me, just know I'm in the shower. Like it was really severe. And my parents would say like, Viv, you don't need to let us know when you're in the shower. But at the same time, some part of me felt like, no, I do. And I think if I even go deeper into this, it's because there was nothing more I hated than being needed when I was unavailable. Right? That was the true fear. It's like I didn't want to be in the bliss of taking my shower and somebody calling my name and me having to disrupt that joy. But later I rationalized it as if people don't know where I am, I'm not safe. Because my brain had to make up an excuse, a story, a reason as to why I was doing this weird thing. Why am I sharing this with you? Why am I in a bathrobe drinking my coffee on a Saturday morning sharing this with you? Because I want to talk about freedom because it's so fucking important. It's something we all want. It's something that we all say is our motivator for anything, right? Financial freedom, freedom from our parents, freedom in love, freedom in choice, right? We all want freedom. But what nobody talks about is how the freedom of choice could drown you if you don't actually know who the fuck you are. Let me say that again a little less vulgary. Vulgary. I don't even know if that's a word, but vulgarly. But like when you don't know who you are, but you're escaping from your reality because you feel like you're in some sort of prison or jail or under control or stuck, what happens is you use that desire for freedom to break through, which could be great, right? Like you break through the toxic relationship, you break through the enmeshment cycles, whatever it is. But when you finally get this freedom, you have to remember that you've been programmed to be the prisoner for so long, to be the victim for so long that you don't even know who you are, and you won't be able to make a simple decision as simple as what do you want to eat, because you don't know who you are. You don't know what your preferences are. You just know that in the past you were programmed by what you were a prisoner of. And I use the word prisoner lightly here, okay? Meaning, if your mother always said, you know, you must eat a protein and vegetable for lunch if you want to look good. And finally, you cut that cycle and you said, you know what? I'm going to follow my intuition. I'm going to follow what feels good for me. If somebody says, okay, what do you want to eat for lunch? You might not know how to answer because you don't know who you are, what you like. You haven't discovered that part of you yet. Like, you know that you want freedom. You know what you want freedom from. But what you don't know is what you want freedom for, right? Again, most of you will say, yeah, I do know what I want freedom for. And it'll take you right back what you're running from or what you're trying to leave, right? Or what you're trying to gain control of. That's another form of being stuck, right? Control. So it's so important for you to know who you're going to be, the choices you're going to make once you do finally have that freedom. Once you finally cut that voice in your head that's been telling you you can't, that's been keeping you small, that's been trapping you in fear. Once you finally release that shit, who are you? And this brings me to the purge, okay? The purge is the third dimension of the five dimensions to your ascension, which is the manifestation method that I've come up with throughout my life of existing through manifesting a healthy body, healing myself from Crohn's, from manifesting getting into an incredible college, manifesting an incredible husband. I am 8 months pregnant. Incredible husband, apartment, just life, a life that I fucking love, that I do feel so free from. Okay, so the first step is getting crystal clear. Great, you know what you want, you move past that, you're in taking inventory, you're not starting for nothing from nothing. There's things that are already working out for you, but chances are, big chances are, actually, absolutely, there are things that are not working for you, which is why you haven't manifested the thing that you're calling in. This is all things that I teach when you work privately with me or in Hot Girl Spring. So get into Hot Girl Spring if you haven't already enrolled. At the point that I'm recording this, we have 5 spots left. So DM me on Instagram. It's the only way to get into Hot Girl Spring. Okay. Now, after you take inventory, we have the purge. This is where we get rid of everything that isn't in alignment with what we're calling in. This is where we start to stop saying yes where we wish we were saying no, or start saying no where we were saying yes and we wish we weren't. This is where we stop shrinking ourselves. This is where we stop making ourselves small so that somebody else could feel big. And this is the beginning of raising your self-worth. And remember, I'm constantly saying manifestation is a game of self-worth. The higher your self-worth, your higher sense of value. And it's not just knowing, right? Because knowing is just wishful thinking. It's the embodiment of it. It's actually behaving and being, right? Human being, your new sense of value, of sense of self-worth, which gives you unfuckwithable confidence where nothing outside of you could break or make you, right? It can't shape you. Everything is internal. You give it to yourself. When we stop getting a hit of dopamine and adrenaline rush from outside approval, we gain our power back. We don't need somebody outside of us. We could give ourselves the permission that we need to be fucking awesome and go after that life. The purge is huge, okay? The purge is a pivotal moment in the manifestation game. Now, there is a reason why getting crystal clear is numero uno in the 5 dimensions. There is a reason why we don't go straight into the purge. It's because science says, okay, I love bringing up science. I've become the big, you know what? I think I was born a nerd. But anyway, it's because science says that nothing, no space can be left empty. No space. So if you just try to purge and get rid of shit and you don't know what you want to replace it with, anything will just show up in that space. And that anything is most probably going to be something that you didn't intentionally put there, that you didn't put there by choice. Okay? And we don't want to just fill up this space with crap. We want to fill it up with the thing that we're manifesting. So when we are purging, it is so important to intentionally purge. I am swapping. Instead of holding on to my ex-boyfriend's gorgeous necklace that he gave me, I'm going to donate it because I'm making space for my husband's gorgeous necklace to come through, right? I'm making space for him, right? We swap. We don't just purge recklessly or unintentionally. We purge with intention. That way, when we get into the 4th dimension of the rebirth, we are in this dimension of having the things that the version of ourselves who've already manifested it have. The rebirth becomes so easy. The rebirth becomes a dimension where we take on the habits of the version of ourselves who already has a thing. And it becomes so obvious what those habits, what those routines, what those new choices are. Because when we purged, we intentionally got rid of things knowing we were upgrading. And by the way, you can take the free quiz on our website, the free manifestation quiz, the 5 dimensions to your ascension, to find out which dimension you're currently in so that you know what you have to unblock in order to unlock your next level. Okay. This is our short podcast episode for the week. It's a big one. It's about freedom. It's about choice. And it's about knowing who the fuck you are, who you really are when you peel back the layers, like who you really are, so that when you do get the gift of freedom, you do not feel like you are in a prison of making these choices that you don't know how to make or how to answer because you don't know who you are, so that you don't feel like you're drowning in choice. And if you don't know who you are and you're ready to manifest the shit out of your life, DM me the word manifest if you want to work one-on-one. And I'm going to tell you, don't message me the word manifest if you are scared to grow. If you're scared to grow and excited, that's expansion. There, I'll help you. But if you're like toying with the idea, like, what are your prices? I want to work with you, but like, you're too expensive. Yeah. You know what's too expensive? Staying stuck. You know what's too expensive? Not spending the money on you growing, not investing in yourself, and you staying exactly where you are 3 to 6 to 12 months from now. Still complaining about the same shit, where you could have spent the money, got out of whatever loop you're in, and manifested the shit out of your life onto the next. Some of my clients make the money back within days of signing on, right? So it really depends on value for you. Are you willing to stay where you are? Then do not message me. Now, let's say the money really is a thing for you right now. That is why I created Hot Girl Spring. It's a perfect way to get into manifestation, manifest the shit out of your life in 30 days at a very reasonable price. It's $500, no excuses. $500, 30 days, 4 live group calls, 30 days of the community chat where you get daily meditations Monday through Friday, or a journal prompt, or an activation, or a training. So it's going to be so much fucking fun, packed with gold, and it'll literally be the decision that you look back on for the rest of your life that you're forever grateful for, because it changed your fucking life for good. It's going to be the moment where everything begins to shift for you, transform for you. And the best part is it's only $500. Typically a $2,797 value. So this is a freaking steal. DM me Hot Girl on Instagram. And I can't wait to see you there. And I can't wait to celebrate all the wins. The women in Hot Girl Spring, I just want to tell you what they've already manifested, because when you signed up within the first 24 hours of us putting this out, we gave a free bonus call, a free private bonus call. Here's what they already manifested from one call, okay? Getting into the receiving, getting into feminine, so that they can actually stop blocking themselves from their manifestation from coming through and rewire the brain to get into receiving mode. They've already manifested money. Okay, money babies. They came in being so scared of money, but they're like, I know this works. I've read your reviews. I've gotten direct referrals. I'm going to invest. And guess what? She manifested money. She opened up a high yield bank account. She's making money babies at this point. Then we have another woman who is in here, and she's manifesting getting rich as fuck. She's always been in her way by taking on the beliefs of other people around her. And she finally cut the cord and stopped doing that, was able to find out who the fuck she is by being like, wait a second, these are my own limiting beliefs now that we got rid of everybody else's. And we're able to reprogram them so that we could create stories in her own mind that tell her that she's succeeding, that she's winning, and identifying with this manifestation success, which is allowing her to take these big risks on herself and succeed in ways she's never done before, by getting a little bit uncomfortable in order to win in a brand new way, bigger than she ever has. So this is going to be the space, the place for you to boomerang into your next level of success, happiness, peace, and joy. If you are ready for a fulfillment like you've never felt, a life that feels better than it looks on Instagram. If you're done tapping, double hearting the life on Instagram that you wish you were living, get into this fucking room. DM me Hot Girl Spring, or DM me the word manifest if you want to do it privately. And let's fucking soar. Okay, guys, see you next week.
Hey, if you like this podcast episode, please download it, give us a nice review, and follow us on Instagram at Journey with VRD to get all the latest and the greatest updates. Till next week.